Topic.
Yo, yo.
Welcome to Uncensored Wisdom. What's good?
What's good, man? Happy to be here, man.
Nah, for sure, man. Man, I got plugged with you through Confusion Hoops. You know what I'm saying? And shit, now we here.
What?
So I see you a rapper. I see what you got going. Can we know about your childhood and what molded you this way? Like, what turned you into a rapper?
Well, I mean, it's not really something that necessarily turned me into a rapper. Like, I was young. I was doing my thing. I was, like a lot of inner city kids in the streets, and rapping was just something that, like, at first I seen, as a way out of my situation, so to speak. And, that's just what I pursued, and it ended up turning out the way it is.
Right. So you got a deal at a young age?
Yeah, I got a deal at a real young age, like my senior year in high school. I got my first record deal.
So how did it come about? Like, you in high school, what, just pop out of the blue? Like, how did the deal come about?
Man, it's so crazy. I was in the streets doing my thing, and I ran into a dude, and funny cat, man. He was like, man, you always out here. Every time I see you out here, man, look, check this out. Call this lady, man. I say, man, look, this better not be no massage parlor, no funny, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my money. I ain't got time to be, you know what I mean? So he was like, nah, it ain't nothing like that, man. He's like, I see your lifestyle and I see that you could, you know what I'm saying, that you could rap. And I was like, how you know I could rap? You ain't even heard me say nothing. He's like, I could just tell. Like, whatever you doing, just by how you living, if you was to put it on wax, and I'm sure you could figure it out, you got something. And I was like, all right, whatever. But it just so happened at that time, like, you know how you freestyle with your friends and stuff like that? I was already doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then I started to take what he was saying kind of seriously, and I was like, I went to a studio. That's when I started going around the studio, just kicking it. And at that time, I was just kicking it, smoking, chilling. I wasn't saying nothing, you know what I mean? And then one day, a homie was like, shit, hop on the mic. And I hopped on the mic. And he recorded what I said. He recorded what I spit, turned it into a hook, then put a verse, then turn the other part into a verse, made it into a song.
Like, he manipulated it
He basically mixed it, engineered it. And I was like, damn, like, shit, I could do this. And it just started going from there. And then after a while, I just kept on getting better and better and better, and just, understanding what I wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah.
You fell in love with it.
Yeah, so then he gave me a number to the lady, and I hit the lady up. She just so happened to be a manager, a big manager out in California. And I hit her up, and she was like, yeah, I heard about you, yada, yada, yada. And she was like, I wanna hear some music. And I was like, all right. So I started it. At this time, I just so happened to get with a producer, and we was recording. I recorded music, and I recorded a whole project, sent it to her, and she was like, it was nice. She shopped it around, and I ended up getting a deal with Sony at that time. And that's how I ended up getting it.
Man, so how old was you?
I was like 17.
17.
Yeah.
Deal with Sony, just out the blue like that. You ain't even expect it.
I ain't expect it.
So what was going through your mind when that happened?
Shoot, I was like, my whole thing was like this. I was like, man, I'm gonna make one song.
Oh shit! Here we go. Go ahead. I'll make one song.
I'm gonna make one song, bro. I'm gonna be a millionaire, and that's it. That's it. And then it ended up, man, one song turned into another song turned into another song, and before you know it, I just became an artist. So it felt like, at that time, it felt like that's what I was gonna do. But as time went on, it wasn't, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't that. Like, I thought it was just gonna be, peaches and cream.
Right.
But it wasn't.
Okay, so when you say it wasn't peaches and cream, what do you mean by that, and what got you to see that it wasn't peaches and cream?
Well, I thought, like, success was just evident. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just gonna happen.
Right.
But you gotta maneuver, you gotta work, like, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really gotta go hard to make that happen. So that's when I was like, okay, it ain't peaches and cream. Because peaches and cream is easy. It's easy work.
Right.
It ain't, you know what I'm saying? It ain't doing that.
Right.
But when I like seeing, okay, look, people ain't gonna move unless you make them move.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? And however you do it, whether it's physical or whether it's mental, you gotta figure that way out. You know, it could be mental where you just put certain pieces together where they ain't got no other way but to move to where you want them to move. Or if you just physical with it, you trying to bogart them and, get your people together and whatever, and you going down there to make things difficult. You know what I'm saying? It just depends, but you gotta figure out a way to make them move. And that's like not easy. You making a whole nother person do what, thing about it is, you trying to put a whole bunch of people on one mindset, one agenda. If all of them people don't have anything to gain from it, or they don't feel like they have anything to gain from it, instantly, a lot of the times it's hard to get people on the same page.
Right. People don't have, they want instant gratification.
Exactly. And that's what I figured out, like, you know what I mean? So that's when I had to, like, okay, sharpen my sword and, understand what I need to do.
Right. It's funny you say that. I guess like when you young and impressionable, you probably thinking, oh, I got the deal, it's about to happen. But it's still work you gotta do. You were just in a position to do the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Got you. Okay, so you got the deal. You figuring out that this shit gonna be a little bit more difficult than what you thought it was gonna be. Mm-hmm. And once you come to that conclusion, what's the game plan now?
Shoot, work. Like, my whole thing was, okay, I knew I could rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew I could rap. I knew I could, I can do it. It's just about me being consistent.
Right.
But the thing was, also, you got music business. You got music, you got music business.
Facts.
And at that time, at that young age, that's what I did not know nothing about. I knew music, I knew how to rap, but I didn't know nothing about business. And when you got these people telling you this, and they trying to manipulate you to do what they want you to do, and depending on who you are, because I'm a very loyal person, so I'm always, the person who came in the door with me is the person who's coming out with me. So somebody trying to manipulate me against that person is a hard give. You know what I mean? And you have a lot of that going on, too. So, all that makes it kind of difficult, but you got to be mentally strong to get through it.
Right. Well, I'll ask you this, though. Looking back at it, the things that they were trying to manipulate you to do, were they things that you didn't want to do, or were they things that they were trying to get you to do to sell the records?
It was things that they wanted me to do to sell the records. It was things they wanted me to do to basically have more control of my career.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Things like that. Cause I think a lot of it is more so control. They got control. They can kind of dictate, okay, what kind of records they want you to put out or whatever the situation may be. But they didn't necessarily have total control of me. I had a different manager. I was dealing with a manager. I had a manager. I had a manager that was not with them or dealing with them, or they didn't have any relationship with at the time. So that was my advisor that was in my ear. So they were trying to get a hold of that. They couldn't control her. So, you know, that's what kind of caused conflict in that type of situation.
Got you. So they was wedged against you having a relationship with a manager that they can't control.
Yeah, like, like that's just like, but you know, now that I'm older, I understand this business. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't control, like if you sitting there, you putting money behind the artist or whatever, you can't control all the pieces on the board. You know, it's kind of like it's to that person, it's kind of maybe frustrating, but to you like, well, shoot, I don't want nobody to have full control,
Right.
full control of me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like sometimes it becomes a conflict of interest. But what they was doing was kind of crazy. You know, as far as to me at that time, as far as what I thought was good business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like what you said in the beginning, that's how I need to ride out.
Right.
You don't say something in the beginning and then in the middle you try to do things to try to make it, you know, different. You know, so fine print type stuff.
Right.
You dig? So
Right.
yeah. So that's, I mean, that was that type of situation. But it just really just made me realize what I wanted as an artist. I didn't want nobody telling me, like I didn't want that type of control on me as an artist. And then that let me know that some artists are cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Some artists ain't. You know what I'm saying? I wanted more bargaining power.
Right.
You get what I mean? And I understood that for me to get that, I had to do certain things. And, you know, that's as you get older and understand business more.
Right. Yeah, saying it, I'm thinking about it like this, and it's kind of weird, but as an artist, you are a product and a person at the same time. So it's always gonna be some type of conflict and interest because you have a human thing that you wanna do versus what you wanna do as a product.
Fact.
And it's always this convoluted space that you in. Damn, that's crazy. All right. So what was exciting about being, you know, signed as a kid? I mean, not as a kid, you was a young adult. So what was exciting about that wasn't like more so in a negative space?
Shoot, I feel like I made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you gotta think about it. You fresh out of high school. Most of the time when you coming out of high school, you either going to college or you getting a job or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My career was music. So I'm like, I'm excited. I'm like, man, I done made it.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, it's still hard work though.
Right.
It's still hard work. You know, and that's, I mean, but that was the feeling that I had though. You know, like, you know, like when you enter the draft and they call your name,
Yeah.
it's like that type.
Right, you got drafted, but it's like, nigga, you had to go work though.
You still gotta go work though.
Yeah, you gotta go to practice and all kinds of. Yeah. What your fam thought about it?
They was excited.
They was excited.
really excited because ain't nobody in the family was doing what I was doing. So that was like first.
Did you feel a weight on your shoulders because of that?
Yeah, still to this day. Cause, you know, like my family looked to me for a lot of things. So because I done accomplished a lot as far as within my family, So a lot of them look to me for a lot of things. So still to this day, still got that weight on my shoulder. Still the same thing.
Gotcha. You carry it well though.
Shoot, got to, cause you gotta understand I've been through a lot since I was young. Like I was raised by my pops.
Mm.
You know, my mom's, she left when I was 8. And you know, so a lot of things that I done seen, I was one of those kids that was out 2, 3 a.m., you know, and then 11 years old, you know, always hanging out with people that were older than me.
Mm.
You know, like it was times where kids like, cause the funny thing about me was I lived in the projects, but I went to private school. You know what I'm saying? So when I would be up like 2 a.m. and my pops, he worked all the time, so I would always have the crib to myself.
Right.
So I basically do what I want. So I come in, you know, 2 a.m. gotta be up for school because that's the thing. He would get to my crib by the time it's time to go to school.
Right.
So he would know if I went to school or not. So I had to be to school, but I was still staying out late.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to be out, you know, because when you're a kid, you're attracted to all that stuff that's going on outside.
Right.
So I wanted to be outside. But, you know, for a long time, it was real funny because I got the both worlds going on. Like
Right.
I'm living in the projects, but I'm going to school with kids that their parents are lawyers and doctors and judges, and they all different ethnicities and stuff like that. So that's why I'm able to articulate different than a lot of the people that come from where I come from.
Right. That molded your mind a little bit differently.
Yeah, I'm able to see things differently, think differently, you know, just different.
Understood. Okay. So going back to the deal, where did the deal kind of go left at? You know what I mean?
The deal went left on tour. Cause everything was good. You know what I'm saying? When we going on tour, and while we on tour, I did like, I want to say, it was like maybe 3 cities.
Mm.
So I'm killing, you know, I'm doing my thing. And in the 3rd city, they sat me down and, you know, want to talk to me about getting different management.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, nah, I mean, I'm happy with the management I got. And, you know, they ain't really make them too happy. You know what I'm saying? So that situation, you know, we talked a little bit more and more. So then that situation, okay, cool, boom. You know what I mean? Ain't no, you know, it wasn't no kind of conflict or,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, wasn't no arguing or nothing like that. It was just like, okay, all right, that's cool. So as the tour go on, I'm starting to see little funny stuff that's going on and funny stuff that they doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, the hotel rooms, everything is supposed to be, it's paid for.
Right.
Right? Got different groups on the, you know what I'm saying? Got different groups on the tour. Why they room paid for, mine ain't paid for? I gotta pay for mine out of pocket.
Oh, they applying pressure now.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, bet. All right. So, get to the next city. I'm killing. And they come and have a talk with me. They like, hey, look, man, you doing, you know what I'm saying? You doing a tremendous job. You know, we want you to headline. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I headline, you know what I'm saying? But I also wanted to headline money. because y'all not paying for my room. You know what I'm saying? So, pay me the headline money. And that's where shit went left.
Instantly it went left.
To the left, man. So after that, time went on. It's the headliner, like, it's getting so bad to where people is not staying for the headliner.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? They leaving like after my set. So that's why they try to get me the headline.
Right, they like, damn.
So to get the, you know what I'm saying, the majority of the people to stay. And, that wasn't happening. So after that, things went left. I started to see more, Fugazi type activity. Then they tried to leave me in the city. The tour bus tried to leave me in the city.
Damn.
So after that was the last straw. That's when I say, man, I'm like, man, forget this.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, because I'm a cool person. And then so I'm like, man, forget this. So I called my manager at the time, and I let her know what the business is. I'm like, look, because the thing with me is I'm not going to sit here and ask you what I need to do. I'm going to tell you what it is I'm going to do.
Right. You're going to have to react to that.
You know what I mean? I just need you to, be on board and, do what it is that I need you to do. So I told her, and, that's why we was so cool, because she did exactly what I needed her to do. And I got up out of there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the type person. I'm not finna be hanging around like no puppy. And I'm seeing signs that, you know what I'm saying, I ain't nobody want me here, so.
Okay, so you get out the deal. You out, you free. Now, you wasn't thinking about being a rapper. Now you a rapper. Now you out of a deal. You like, okay, well now I'm a rapper, so what was the next move?
Shit was scary.
Ooh.
Shit was scary, right?
Right.
But the thing about me is I'm a hustler, so I always bet on myself. You know what I mean? So after that situation, I had to start like getting, getting things together. I understood. I knew how to create the product. You know what I mean? I just needed to get the pieces around me to, to get it out there. And I was real big on, okay, outsourcing who I go to create my product. You know what I'm saying? So I already knew the formula on how to do that. And then I got with my business partner, and we created a label, Topik ENT. And so once I created that, and I already knew how to create the product, I put that together, and then I started putting music out of the product. But even in that process, I still had to learn how to get the product to the masses, you know what I'm saying, and everything that goes behind running a label.
Right.
And I picked that up along the way from, a lot of, different knowledgeable guys and heads of different labels and things like that over time. And it worked out, good for me. Made a formula and put it together and ran with it.
Got you. So when you created your, Topik ENT, what did you start seeing that was like, damn, okay, I didn't know this. I didn't know that it was gonna be this and that, but I understood this part, that I had to create the product, outsource to people, but I didn't know all this back end was this way. So now I got a different perspective of what the business is. When did that come about?
As things start getting successful, like as things start, as time goes on, like when you start getting you know, more success, like as far as your numbers going up and you doing, you know, venues and you doing paid features and, you know what I mean? That's when you start to understand, like, the different stuff that goes along, you know what I'm saying, that goes along with it. And it just depends on what kind of person you are. It's how you gonna react to it and deal with it, you know. But it's gonna go on regardless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So me, I don't fool with it. I try to, you know, I try to navigate away from it, but it does, you know what I'm saying? I just like a lot of people have experienced it and it goes on. So it just depends on how you deal with it. The biggest thing is not getting discouraged and not letting it, you know, get to you to where you're like, oh man, I ain't trying to do this no more. If that's what you want to do, you know what I mean? That's really just what it is. I feel like.
Right.
You know.
Because you juggling being an artist and being a businessman.
Exactly, and it's a lot because it's a lot because of the simple fact that you got to be able to navigate in both realms. You know what I'm saying? And think outside of the box. Not think just, what my, what my homie's gonna think. Like, you gotta think steps ahead, you know what I'm saying? You gotta understand. And then also you gotta be able to be willing to build relationships or try at least, you know what I'm saying? Because what I done understood is in business, it's hard to do it alone.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, like, I be dealing with people that's genuine. Because it's hard to do it alone, but if you can like, I'd rather have a smaller circle than a bigger one. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know what I mean? And like, as far as like in business. So, you know, that's the thing, like trying to understand the two, because when you talking about just music, you just dealing with just music. That's it. All you gotta do, you already been through that. Everything you putting out, you done been through, so it's easy. It's just like an actor playing a role of himself. It ain't hard. But then when you gotta sit here and put business into it, and a lot of the times you don't know how to relate to, you may have already been doing business, you just didn't realize it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just a different product, you know? And some cats don't know how to translate that.
Right.
You know, and sometimes it's because a lot of times this product has already been marketed for years. So it's kind of easy to kind of sell it, right?
Right.
But this product, you got to build it up. You got to figure out a way. And I think that's the difference. Once you figure it out, you know what happens.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just that.
Right. And to go along with what you said, keeping a small circle in business, it's because you have to maintain relationships. And it's easier to maintain a small circle of relationships versus a big ass circle of people that you're trying to maintain relationships with.
Exactly. And the pieces, you know, when them checks come back, they, you know, they're a lot fatter.
Yeah, for sure.
You know
For sure. Okay. So you got Topik ENT and you getting the ball moving, getting it rolling. Was there any hardships in the beginning that you just was like, damn, this shit is tough, nigga, doing Topik ENT versus how I was doing it before on somebody else's penny?
Yeah, because you had more of a structure, you know what I'm saying, in that situation. But then when you doing it by yourself, you know what I mean, it's hard to have that structure because, like, it's already relationships and stuff that they already have built and lines and things like that to where they can just, you know, push a button.
Right.
Literally, you feel me? But when you doing it from from the mud, like when you're doing it from the muscle, you know, you gotta make that trip. You know what I'm saying? You can't, it's hard to just push a button because them telling somebody or asking somebody to do something and you asking somebody to do something is different.
Two totally different worlds.
You know what I'm saying? You got two totally different speakers. You know what I mean? This one is louder. It's bigger. You get what I mean? Yours is new, it's smaller, it's not as loud. You know, so it's like they gonna hear them over you. So you gotta understand, you gotta build that time and you gotta take that trip. You gotta go around.
That trip is filled with failure and then bouncing back, resilience and all that shit. That trip is serious.
Facts. It is. A lot of people don't make it all the way around.
They either quit before then
quit before then or, you know, don't make it.
Right.
You know, and you got some that's still trying to get there.
Right. So, okay, personally with the label, what vision do you have for that?
My vision, like right now, I'm the first, like, I'm opening the doors for my, you know what I'm saying, for my label as far as the first artist or whatever. But my vision is to have like a international label.
Mm.
You know what I mean? With not just, you know, rap artists, but, you know, I want Afro beats. I want Latin music on there, you know what I mean? And the thing about it is I also, like, I know, like, I got an eye for talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got an eye for, like, I got an eye for seeing a artist or even hearing music. Not even just seeing an artist, but like hearing music and knowing, okay, this is, you know, how this can work. You know what I'm saying? And will it work?
Right.
You know, I just think it's just from, you know, being around music. Even like when you in the streets, you around music. You walking down the street, you hear music. You know, the new mixtape that come out, you hear it.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying, in the streets. The new album that come out, you hear it. You know, so you're around music all the time. After a while, you start to understand what works and, you know, what doesn't work. You know, what can work in the future and what can work right now.
Right, you become a visionary and then you can identify talent because you went down that road of learning how to do it yourself. So you got both things working for you at the same time.
Most definitely.
Man, that, you know, thinking about that, I'm thinking about these people who pick and find people, they don't have that type of experience, you know, that's at the head of labels most of the time. They might have experience for doing it from years, but they don't have experience of actually doing it themselves. You know what I mean? So, man, I feel like somebody who has done music and understands the business of music is better at picking talent than anybody else.
That's facts. That's facts, because you gotta have done it to know it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like I remember, I think Floyd Mayweather said it. He was like, I can't have a trainer that ain't been in the ring.
Right.
Cause you're not gonna know how I feel. Like when I get hit with a left hook or when I'm in certain situations, you're not gonna know how I feel. You're not gonna know what to tell me. You know what I'm saying? So how I'm gonna have you in my corner?
Right, you can't really relate to the experience.
Can't really relate to what's going on.
Yeah.
Like you ain't never been punched in the face.
Right.
So how you gonna tell me, you know what I mean?
What to do once I get punched in the face.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think that, you know, I feel like that that notion holds true. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, a lot of the people that I get advice from, they done been through it. You know, I feel like whatever type of advice I'm trying to get, I usually go to, you know, people that, you know, they done been through it.
Right, it only makes sense.
You know, and that's how I kind of look at that, you know.
Right. So, since you saying that you want to have broad, you know what I mean, spectrum of type of artists that you have, what would define, you know, Topik ENT, the brand of the label?
I feel like it'll be defined as a very different label as far as like in talent notoriety globally. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like as a kid, I done traveled the world. Like, at 8 years old, I was already traveling the world. Switzerland, France, you know, Italy, London. You know, I was traveling the world as a kid. And so I kind of like, I got a chance to see, you know, through life I got a chance to deal and see and with, you know, and talk to different cultures, you know, and I feel like with my label, I'm gonna have those different type of artists that relate to these different type of cultures all around the world, not just in the United States. You know, United States is a hotbed for music because a lot of the cultures outside of United States look to the United States as far as music or fashion or whatever. But also, United States looks to outside globally for fashion too.
Right.
Because that's where a lot of fashion comes from and things like that. So I just feel like connecting that full circle, you know what I'm saying? Not even just, you know, not even just European, you know, not even just European type, like, I'm talking about like the whole world, Asian, Africa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, like I said, Latin America. I want all those different type of artists to feel like they have a home at my label. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to feed their needs. And to do that, I feel like those different type of markets will just make the label even better. You know, can you imagine, like, if you got a Latin market, if you have a Jamaican market, African market, all these different type of artists connected to your label, you know, I feel like it'll be big.
Nah,
Be able to
facts.
do a lot of work with a lot of different type, a lot of people, a lot of different labels, a lot of different artists. You know, just connecting the dots.
Facts. And in the marketing idea, that you spread out very wide. You know what I mean? A lot of people can see that where you can get that to go.
Most definitely.
So, like Afro beats and all this stuff that's, you know, popping, reggaeton and all this stuff like that, you're interested in all those different genres of music.
Most definitely.
Right.
Most definitely, because we listen to it. We listened to it growing up. I know with me, like I said, I've been around a lot of different cultures. You know, reggae, reggaeton. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you traveling, New York, Miami, and then when you go outside of the United States and things like that, you hearing all these different type of music. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been indulged in it, you know, and all of it. And I just felt like, cause at first I was like, man, I just wanted a label and just to, you know, just to focus on rap and R&B. But as time went on, I said, man, I want to focus on more than that. You know, I want to focus on, I want to focus on global music. You know, what's that dude? Man, what's that?
What's the song?
Oh, man, I forgot the name. Well, anyway, country meets R&B. You know what I'm saying? Even rock. You know, see, even rock and roll artists. I feel like rock and roll and R&B can mesh. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like having these different artists, I can be able to mesh different types of backgrounds of music. You know, you may have an artist that's from the UK that has a certain type of voice that may sing R&B, or I mean that may do rock, that may mesh with an artist, over here that sings R&B. Put them on the track together, what you gonna get? So it's like, if I'm able to have those different type of artists on my label, I can have access to that type of music. You don't know what could come out of that. That's just off the base of it, but just off the front of it, them artists themselves are gonna be talented in their own genres, in their own sections of the world. So I feel like that, that'll be a big legacy for my label, and it'll be a big drive, and it'll be something that a lot of other labels would do and continue to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you got a big. This is a big idea.
Most definitely. It ain't just from. Started out as just me wanting to rap to something else. So,
right.
And I'm pretty sure it's gonna grow from there. It's gonna grow even bigger than that.
Right. So I didn't get this information until now, but you said that you was traveling as a kid. You was all around.
Yeah, like as a
So yeah, earlier I didn't even get that information about you telling me that you was traveling as a kid. So how did those, traveling, being in other places, how did that mold your mind a little bit differently?
I mean, it molded it a lot because like I was young, and when you that young, it's easy to kind of like, mold your mind. And the thing with me is like, my people had me traveling to, these different places, and like I was really like traveling by myself. You feel what I'm saying? So, that was another thing. When I get to the airport, or whatever, of course, you have somebody pick you up and things like that. But I was traveling by myself, so I'm on a plane and I'm kicking it with stewardess and
right.
But it was a good experience because I got to, deal with or be around different cultures, different
right.
sports. Understand that in Europe or overseas or, outside of the United States, they call soccer football.
Right.
But in the United States, football is, it's football. And
right,
soccer
football
is
is
soccer.
football, yeah.
Just different things like that, small things like that you don't even really think about. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I experienced a lot at a very young age. A lot.
Right. I mean, obviously, dog, you went from doing all that, then 18, you got a deal, and, your life looked like it shift fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Different experiences come quick, and then you adapt to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's dope. That's dope. Okay. So, in the music industry, you making records. What would you say is the most difficult part about working with other artists or the most enjoyable part about it? Because I see that you got a song with Yo Gotti, so I would assume that there's times that you get features done and you reach out to people or they reach out to you, how does that work?
I mean, it depends on the artist. Sometimes I ain't even in the studio together. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really no relationship or whatever. Like, it's just, a verse, transfer or whatever. And then sometimes y'all are in the studio.
Right.
So I mean, it just depends on the artist. It just depends on the artist. And then also, I mean, I know with me, I'm more so like an artist. Like I like to, I like to kick it with you, like as far as, chop it up with you, understand, understand where where your mind at and things like that. But for some artists, they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
It just depends. Like certain artists, they ain't got time for all that. You know what I mean? So I mean, all that depends. Some artists are assholes. Some artists are cool. You really don't know until that happens. Like I can't say, okay, man, I want to do a song with, such and such, and let's say, okay, I got him. Let's say I got him on a song, but we never met. We never
formally met each other.
Met. It was more so of a business deal, business transaction.
Right.
I can't tell you that person's an asshole, that person's not an asshole, or nothing like that. So I mean, I just think it just depends.
Right. Man, I just thought about something. That could be real. That could be real strange because, like, let's say you did a feature with somebody, right? Just hypothetically speaking, and you didn't know certain information about them, and then the song come out, and then they just go in a different direction with themselves. They might do something crazy, or it don't align with your brand, and it affects your brand integrity. Like that could be a dangerous thing sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, shoot, that didn't happen. Like if you look at let's take Gunna for instance.
Right.
And then you see his situation and what happened with his situation, and then after, and then you got like dude saying, man, the feature, I got a feature from him, but now he a snitch. That hurts his brand. I want my money back, this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, that's, that does happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That does happen. I mean, what can you do?
Right. So I guess in that case, it'd be safe to say that it'd be more important to go after a feature in a genuine notion instead of just a business notion. Even though all this is business, when you're talking about combining two brands together, it would need to be more genuine than anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean, I feel like if you do it that way and something happens after, you can more so justify it by saying, okay, I knew he would do that, or I knew he wouldn't because I know what type of person he is.
Right.
So if like, okay, let's say you doing a feature with a dude and you know he a live wire. You know at any given time this nigga can end up locked up and won't be able to do a video or whatever. So you need to get that done today.
Right.
You need to get that video done today. You need to get that song done. You need to get that put out. You know what I'm saying? Because you know who you dealing with.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's kind of, the way to approach it. Like, I feel like, genuinely know,
who you dealing with.
who you dealing with.
Right. Right.
Basically.
Don't blindside yourself.
Don't blindside yourself. You feel me?
Right.
Like, you getting a feature from let's say you getting a feature from a dude and he hot. He hot, right? Like he hot and he hot.
Right.
You feel me? the people he be around and the things he got going on, they hot. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's trending and it's a hot feature and it may get you, but you don't know how long this gonna last. So it's like, okay, I want to do a feature with him. And then the next week, him and his whole crew get Rico. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to have got that video and that song that day.
Supposed to knock that out.
You know what I'm saying? You supposed to put it out that day. Like, that week. Done, it's out already. Okay, boom. You know, whatever marketing could come from that or whatever the situation is, you want to go ahead and capitalize off of that at that time. But you wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you saying that, it's been a lot of people probably have dropped the ball on getting a feature and not execute in the right amount of time. You know what I mean?
Cause that's strategic. That's strategic too. Like, you know, you got to look at that as, as strategic too. You can't just act like, especially, like I said, depending on who you're dealing with.
Right.
You know, I feel like I've always been a firm believer in, working with what I got and working with what's in front of me. And if I could, if I see that, okay, if I can foresee, okay, this ain't, that's like, okay, if you could see a tsunami coming, or you can see a blaze of fire coming from a long, far away. I'm talking about far away, probably before anybody else see it. You mean tell me you gonna sit there and let that? And you gonna get the hell up out of Dodge, right?
Right.
So that's the same way. Like, that's the same way I see, certain situations, like with certain people, depending on their personality. You know what I mean, and what they got going on. Like, I could kind of see down that far. I'm real good at sizing people up. Like, I can see, I can see what's I'm not a fortune teller or whatever, but I can put two and two together,
Right. You're a visionary.
Yeah, your word.
Understood. And I get that because I got some of that in me. And what I take from that is that you just assessing the situation logically, adding 1 + 1 to make 2. 2 might not be here yet, but you see 1 + 1 and you see an equal sign, so you're like, okay, eventually 2 coming.
2 coming.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Don't know when, but it's coming. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how, that's exactly how I look at it.
Right. So, getting the feature with Yo Gotti, there was a relationship built somewhere, correct?
Yeah.
So that tells me that you value building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start understanding, damn, you know what, this is a relationship game?
You understand that really as soon as you are, starting to basically handle your career.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you trying to go back around that circuit or whatever, it's built off relationships.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's built off of, when you trying to get a direction in which way to go, that's built off relationship. A dude is more susceptible to sit here and give a cat that he done seen and around doing it some game more than a dude that he just met this day or don't even really like talking to him or talk to him or whatever, conversate with him. So, I mean, that's that's what I feel like. A lot of that is built off relationships, things like that. That's why I try to keep my relationships, keep my same energy about myself, stay humble, and that's how I keep my relationships with people. I feel like that's that's one of the strongest parts about business. Not even just music, but business, period, and in general, is the relationships that you have with the people that you're dealing with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, have you ever lost relationships in business?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a certain etiquette that you have to go through when that happens?
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like it's depending on how the situation went.
Right, because every situation different.
It's different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, some situations are more hostile than others. You know, some situations are a little bit more simpler than others.
Right.
So I think it just depends. And I feel like when you talk about etiquette and handling, you know, situations in business, there is a etiquette actually. You don't want to scare. You know what I'm saying? When I say scare, I mean you don't want to scare away business. And I think like when you coming from the streets and you coming into the business world, like you in the streets you handle things a different way. You know what I'm saying? In business in the streets you handle things a different way. In business in like the industry you can't handle it the same way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about when you talking about as far as the etiquette.
Right.
And handling that, I just feel like in that realm, because I've been in them type of situations, and you know, in this realm, you able to get sued. You know what I'm saying? In this realm, ain't nobody trying to sue you. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
So it changes up the etiquette. It changes up the way that you can kind of handle things. You have to kind of think outside the box on, you know, on the etiquette as far as that. Like sometimes you just gotta lawyers, court, you know what I'm saying, cease and desist, all type of stuff in this realm. In this realm, you ain't dealing with that type of etiquette, you know. So yeah, I feel like it's a certain etiquette that you got to come with in this, you know what I'm saying, in this realm over here.
Right.
You know, it took me a while to understand that, but yeah.
Right. It's a non-emotional space.
Exactly. You can't. It's no feelings involved. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't have no emotions involved. You can't think. Otherwise, it's kind of more so of like, you know, what, I ain't gonna say what's by the book, but like, you gotta know the game. Like, you gotta know the game. You gotta know the game to see it coming, and you gotta know the game to know how to react.
Right.
You know?
Right. Man, for sure. That's understood. So in saying that, do you feel like if you had a relationship go sour, after that, I see a lot of people slow down when those things happen and focus on the problem. Have you ever done that, or you just go full throttle after something like that happens? Like, fuck it, I'm just continuing to go, that didn't happen. You know, it get handled, but you just like, I'm focused still.
I stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty simple, man. If you don't mess with my money or my family, I'm not really too worried about what you got going on.
I feel that.
You know what I'm saying? If it's not interjecting with my money and my family, then you know what I'm saying, that's that. So I'm still
Right.
like,
It's really not an issue then.
yeah, it's not an issue. Like, I don't know, people, small things is big to certain, you know what I'm saying, to certain people. Things like that be small to me. Like, it's small, you know what I'm saying? Cause like I said, I done been through a lot. So, you know, things like that is just small.
Water under the bridge.
Water, yeah, like, whatever, man.
Yeah. Facts. I was gonna keep going regardless. So it's like, this just it's an ant bite.
Yeah, like, it ain't,
You know.
like, that ain't stopped me. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? It ain't cripple me. It ain't do nothing to me. So why I'm even worried about it? I'm gonna let you focus on that.
Right.
And then, you know, while I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right. Cause at the end of the day, what Nipsey say, the marathon continues.
Continues regardless. Ain't nobody like, cause you gotta realize, just like bills, right? Let's say you in a motorcycle accident, car accident. Them bill collectors don't give a goddamn. They not finna say, oh man, cause he was in a car. They steady coming. They going for this cause they focused. So you should be that focused. You know what I'm saying? You should understand the difference between big problems and small problems. You know what I'm saying? If you're, that's like the difference between a flagrant foul and a foul.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a foul, you can get an and one. You feel me? Flagrant foul, there's literally no and one. This person is hindering you from scoring. So you gotta understand and assess the difference between the two.
Right.
Small problems ain't nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? You know, big problems, I gotta handle. I gotta take care of it, cause it's in my way.
Yes, it's an attention grab.
You know what I mean?
You know, it needs to flagrant foul and foul. The thing about that analogy is this: a foul you can get an and one. Flagrant foul you can be in the hospital. It can go. It's levels to a flagrant foul.
You feel me? So it's like, you know, just being able to assess the difference.
Right.
That's a small problem, and you know, you gonna know if it's a big problem. Trust me, you gonna know, cause you ain't gonna be able to step. You ain't gonna be able to move, go nowhere. It's a big problem. You gotta handle that.
So I guess what we really saying is this, is that most of the time, if a person is focused on a small problem, they probably never had a big problem.
Facts. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been through a lot in my life, so I know the difference between a big problem and a small problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you ain't never been through it, you don't know. You think a small problem is a big problem.
Right. So, okay, so since we there, like, if you don't mind sharing, have you a big problem that you don't mind sharing that's been so long ago that now that you could be transparent about it?
Let me see. I say a particular family member of mine, he owed me a substantial amount of money. You understand what I'm saying? And the money that he owed me was the money that, was part of the money that I needed to start off a business venture that I was looking into.
Right.
So the problem, the big problem with it was it's my family member, and you know, like I said, the way we handle situations, or the way I used to handle situations, you know, it wasn't conducive for that situation. You know what I mean? So, okay, what do? You know, dude owe me money. He don't want to pay me my money. It's my family member. What can I do? Am I just gonna take the hit? You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna do? So, and then on top of that, this business venture, they waiting on my half of the money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now I'm around here looking like I'm a no-show, which is gonna cut me out of the, you know what I'm saying, cut me out of the deal and just mess up a whole lot of, you know, a whole lot of things for me because I had things, you know, set up for that. So I'm like, man, I'm sitting down, I'm trying to think, how can I flip this situation? Cause you know what I'm saying, it's in my way. I can't go around it, it's in my way. So what I did was I went to his mama, right? I didn't tell her the situation because that's my aunt and she's very old and I ain't want her to have a heart attack. So I kept it 100. So I ain't tell her about the situation. And fool, if you watching this, you know who you are. I'm talking to my aunt and she tells me, she like, well, you know, his daddy just won the lottery. And I was like, what? Yeah, out there in the country. So he just won the lottery. I said, okay. I said, thanks, Amy. I appreciate that. She was like, no problem. But she didn't understand what I was asking for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I went to his pops. And now I told him the situation. You know what I'm saying? Cause he's you know what I'm saying, he's an old school hustler, he understand. And I told him the situation. And first thing he told me was, don't let family borrow money.
That was his.
And then the second thing he told me was, especially my son. He say, my son don't know the value of money. He didn't grow up like we grew up. You understand what I'm saying? I always sheltered my son, you know? So he telling me all this and I'm like, you know what, that makes sense, huh? That really make a lot of sense. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I know you won that down lotto. I know you can do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I know you. So without me even asking, because I was finna get into that next phase in the conversation, but like I said, he a hustler, so he already understood.
Right.
He know what I'm doing here. So he say, look, this is what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna go ahead. How much you say? How much you say he owe you? Okay. Go ahead. Write your check. Go on, cash that, man. And learn that lesson. You know what I'm saying? Big problem. Luckily, I was able to, rectify that situation with the people that I was dealing with, even though I was a little late.
Right.
But big problem. That I had to figure out a way to handle without using, the tactics that I usually use. You know what I'm saying? I had to like figure out a way. Cause like I said, I was in a rock and a hard place in that situation. Cause it's like, it's your family member, and then, you got a certain situation that you gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's life and death type.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like not a reputation. It's deeper than that.
It's deeper than that. It's like,
right.
Bro, you gotta handle this. It ain't going nowhere.
Right. Because at the end of the day, I would assume that if it wasn't life or death, you would just say, oh, it's just some money at the end of the day.
Just some money. You know what I'm saying? The amount And then also what it, the whole situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had to handle that. And that was I ain't gonna say that was my biggest, but that was a big situation because that could have got ugly real quick.
Right.
So yeah.
We gonna get around that. We not gonna we not gonna let it get ugly. We gonna get around that some way somehow. Yeah, but you know what was interesting about you saying that is that anytime a problem happens, I've realized that when you attack the problem, your brain expands to figure it out. You'll be in some shit that you, like last week, you wouldn't have been able to figure it out. But now that you in it, oh yeah, you about to figure it out.
Do or die is like that rope, you know what I'm saying, that net. You trying to get over the other side of the, you trying to get from one side to another. And if you got that net, you know what I'm saying, you're not really gonna use your maximum potential to try to get over. But if you don't have that net and if you fall, you could die. You're gonna die. You're gonna figure out a way to get on that other side.
On the other side.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's just what it is. It's just until you in that situation, and you don't have nobody else to depend on. It's just you. You the only person can figure this out. You gonna figure it out. Human mind is a tremendous thing if we use it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. If you use it for what it's meant for, or use it for what it's capable of, you're gonna get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's how people turn their lives around. They start tapping into really using their brain from, my grandma said, use your mind your head for more than the hat rack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And you really just start tapping in. So, okay. So that means that, you spend a lot of time thinking. You're a thinker, right? Am I correct?
Yeah. I was the only child.
Right.
So I ain't nobody to talk to.
Right.
Just, a lot of thinking. Just a lot of thinking. I'm really a big thinker, actually. Like, I don't overthink. I put it to you like that, but I think a lot. I like time to think, because I always have a problem to solve every day. From when I wake up to when I go to sleep, I got a problem to solve. So I like to think a lot. You know what I'm saying? Not overthink, but think to handle the problem that's in front of me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, understood. I say overthinking is a disease to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Like, got the problem, think about it, here go the solution, action on the solution, get it done.
Word.
You know what I mean? Facts. Okay, Topik, so check this out. This uncensored wisdom, every episode I tell everybody the same thing. It's like your grandpa sitting on the porch, he gonna give you the game straight up. No chaser, he gonna give it to you raw and uncut. So if somebody wanna become an artist and they don't know how to jump in the game, they nervous, they don't know what to do, what would be your uncensored wisdom to them, raw and uncut?
Shoot, I tell them, be ready. Be ready for everything. Stay focused. Understand it ain't overnight. And be smart about yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would say.
Right.
But the main thing is be focused, man. Be focused. Because there's going to be so many things that try to knock you off your path.
Distractions,
literally roadblocks, sometimes. But if you're a mentally strong person, I'll put it this way. If you're a mentally strong person, you'll make it.
yeah.
You'll figure out a way. You know what I'm saying? You'll figure out a way.
There's always a way.
It's always a way. It's always. It's always a way. You just got to figure it out.
Right, because people will get into situations and feel like there's not a way.
No, it's always a way. That's what I mean by being mentally strong. Like, if you mentally strong, you're not taking no for an answer. That's what I mean. Like, ain't nothing, whatever's in your way, you trying to go through it. You know what I'm saying? That's that's the way you gotta kind of look at it, because one day you could be, let's say, okay, one day you can be up, next day you could be down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times, like I said, if you've been around that type of environment, you know what I mean? Like, both of my parents was hustlers. So some days we'll be up, it'll be times when we up, and then it'll be times when we down. But what it does is it teaches you to adapt on both levels, in both realms. And you gonna need that. You know what I'm saying? Because it be times where you up and it be times where you down. It be times where everybody want to feature from you, it be times where they don't. It be times where everybody want to work with you, it be times where they don't. It be times where you hot, it be times where you ain't. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to understand it, you know, and know how to adapt in both realms, and be very mentally strong to stay focused and not let anything deter you off your path.
You don't get tied to an outcome either when that's like that.
Yeah, facts.
You know, because I know for certain, I've seen people, and even myself early on, get tied to an outcome, and I don't like doing that, because now I'm tied to emotion. Because if I'm tied to an outcome, this is gonna happen. When it don't happen, you down.
Yeah.
And if it do happen, you too high up.
Too high up.
I just like to stay at that median.
Yeah.
And whatever come at me is like, okay, cool. That's what it is.
Yeah, gotta stay calm in the face of, you know, chaos. You gotta be able to stay calm.
Man, chaos, for real.
Yeah.
For real. Man, Topik, dope ass interview, man. Hopefully we can have you back.
100.
Yeah, for sure.